Hello YouTube! In this video I'm going to be playing this new Hog deck that is completely taken over top ladder. I was watching Mo Light, Samuel Basoto and Trainer Adnan all run this on the last day of the season, and two of the three of them managed to actually get top 1 in the world with it. So this deck is very good, you know, needless to say it's very good. And I think the reason it's very good is because it kind of works in a lot of the same way as the current, you know, most popular and best deck, which is Minor Poison. It's basically this exact same deck, just with a few modifications to make it a Hog deck. So, yeah, at this point in this game, I'm playing against Graveyard Freeze, and you know we managed to punish him really hard because we very cheaply defended his Graveyard plus Freeze plus Ice Golem push. Goes for Ice Golem again, so his Skeletons at the bridge. Go for a Hog Rider in the right lane to apply pressure. Right, so whilst they go in and he's just spent 7 elixir, if he wants to go for a freeze, then he also has to wait 1 more elixir and spend 11. He'll have no elixir for a test for his Inferno. That's why you want to apply pressure against graveyard decks, especially with any Hog Rider deck. Basically, the second you see a graveyard, you go for a Hog Rider. The only times when you don't do that is when you're down elixir. If you're down elixir, you need to use that to defend, obviously. Your first priority is defending. But if you're equal or up elixir, go for the Hog and then defend. So here we managed to outcycle him. Goes for Evo Bats. Probably should have responded to the Musketeer, but not a big deal. Tesla does well against Evo Bats, so I just go for that. You can see that I'm using Evo Tesla actually, and this video isn't really to do with Evo Tesla, but if you want my 2 cents on it really quickly, it sucks. It's a really bad evolution, and so I wouldn't recommend buying it till they buff it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. Not a good evolution. But okay, the Hog Rider we go for at the same time again as his graveyard, and you know take the Earthquake value on the Inferno. We've outcycled the Inferno, so this time I go in very aggressively. I Earthquake his guards, just so that I know that my tower can deal with them when they cross the bridge, and I don't have to, you know, just taking that value, chipping down his tower. We have to defend, you know, one more time. So here we go. Hi Tesla. I thought I could snipe his Musketeer, but no, goes Bats. So then I just go Knight, and then I log his Skami. I thought the log would hit the Musketeer, then reset onto the Skeletons, but it wasn't the case. So we take a little bit of musky damage, but it doesn't make a difference. Here's the Evo Tesla. I place it so that, you know, it releases a pulse. I thought that against the graveyard it'll release a pulse and, you know, help out, but it's just not useful. The 20% HP buff means nothing. It doesn't even defend a Hog EQ push, so it doesn't mean much. He goes for like basically a last ditch effort with a freeze onto nothing, and yeah, Hog Rider takes the game. GG's. So in this game I go Skeletons. He's running Cannoneer, and if you guys didn't know, if you cycle Skeletons at the bridge, it actually gets 1 skeleton hit because of the slow hit speed of the Cannoneer. So cycling Skeletons at the bridge isn't actually a bad play. But you got to be careful because a lot of minor cycle decks have run Mother Witch. So if you go for them at the bridge, they can just Mother Witch it. So something to keep in mind. Goes for a poison log onto my little prince. He didn't want to deal with it. Fair enough. I go for a Hog Rider. I know I've outcycled him, and he goes for his Mighty Miner on defense. But because, you know, the log and just the Mighty Miner's charge up takes a long time, we get 2 Hog hits, and, you know, it's not something to ignore. That chip damage the Skeletons got onto the Mighty Miner means that it's now a lot easier for me to defend it. You know, that is actually quite significant. So I go for a Tesla for his Wall Breakers. Little Prince first gets 3 card cycle rolling and helps me on the counter push. As you guys will see, right? He just used his Mighty Miner, which means that's his tank, and he doesn't have it in cycle. So the Little Prince helped on defense, then I popped the ability on offense, and I'm like, okay, well, at the very least I could force out some elixir. So, you know, I force out his bats and his goblins. Probably shouldn't have played my Evo Skeletons, but it also forced out a log. So, you know, we just, my ability plus Skeletons, or Evo Skeletons, forced out 6 elixir. So, pretty good trade for me. We are also up about 1100 damage, so I'll take that. Go for a Knight at the bridge, you know. Oh, sorry, in the back. Go for a Hog Rider now because, look, I know that I have to spend troops to defend his Wall Breakers, so instead of spending the troops then going for a Hog, because he has a bomb tower anyway, I went for the Hog first. He misplaced his bomb tower, so an Earthquake meant I got a Hog hit. I let my knight go because I know that there's no way for me to really do anything, just Mighty Miner on defense. So I just set up for another Miner poison push. He goes Miner, Evo Bats opposite lane. Tesla one-shots Evo Bats if they haven't been like healed up. So that works out well. Go for a Hog Rider in the middle of this, and you know I decide to Earthquake the remainder of his bomb tower. Again, he defends. Fire Spirit really helps out. The reason this deck literally runs Fire Spirit is because of bats, so you know it helps out quite a bit. His tower is very low. We got a lot of damage just then, and at this point we're just in cycle range. But Little Prince takes it. Log. We've still got to defend one more last push, but you know. I just go for a Hog Rider. At this point, I'm like, okay, do what you want to do. Is he going to go in? No. GG's. Pretty nice game. Yeah, this deck is very strong. And if you guys have the Little Prince, I would recommend trying it out. Very nice game. Moving on, we're playing against Adam. Go for Split Skeletons in the back, and we log his tower. I'm just sort of waiting to see what he wants to do. He's playing quite passively. So I go for my knight instead of any other card because I want that to get to my evolution as quickly as possible. Go for a Tesla to snipe his mortar at the bridge. And so, okay, I have a knight in the right lane, so I might as well support it with a Hog Rider. Goes for a Bar Barrel, and then he goes for an Egiant. That surprised me. I didn't know Mortar Egiant was a deck, but actually a lot of decks, instead of running a building, just started running, Mortar as their building. And this was actually quite a good E-Giant, it forced out a lot of Elixir from me, and he still gets some damage. Without Tesla and Cycle, it's not the easiest to defend. This matchup actually is quite difficult. It's one of those where, without being able to stack a bunch of troops, like normally you'd stack Firecrackers or you could stack Musks, it can get tricky. So again, I cycle a Knight, so now I'm only one Knight cycle away from my evolution. Split Skeletons, and I just go for Earthquake. The Skeletons are there just to distract the Mortar so that my Knight can walk in front of my tower and then tank the Mortar itself. He goes Little Prince, so I use my Little Prince to snipe it. Log finishes off the Mortar and damages down his LP. I try protecting my Little Prince, but it doesn't work out. My Evo Knight cleans up, and we still have 50% HP on my Evo Knight, so, I should go for a Hog Rider and support it. Goes for a Bowler, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is all dead. He's gonna Nado, for sure. And there's no way for me to really get any value, so no point using an Earthquake or any other cards. Let's just defend and take the fact that I'm still up in damage, even if slightly. Here, I actually knew that he was going to... Well, I thought that he could go for Prediction Bar Barrel. And even if he did actually predict my Skeletons, I was completely fine with it. I'd go for my Fire Spirit and Tesla or a Knight or something. Again, we have to set up for a defense. I go for my Earthquake first, and here I go for this kind of weird looking Hog Rider. So the Hog Rider will distract the Evo Mortar for quite some time, and it'll also force out a response. If he doesn't do anything, then look at my Hog Rider on the left. I still get a bunch of damage. He just decides to sack the Hog Rider, and instead goes in for, E-Giant, Lightning, Knight, Little Prince, and I just wasn't expecting him to spend that much Elixir. If I had cycled cards quicker, I'm pretty sure I could have defended this without taking anything but lightning damage, but yeah, we took a lot of damage this time. Again, Hog Rider on the inside tile of the bridge so that it distracts, and I know he's going to go for this E-Giant, but I have no good way of dealing with the Mortar. If I spend my Earthquake, it doesn't kill it, and I still have to defend his E-Giant. So because I have my because I had my Evo Skeletons in cycle, I decided it was worth it just to try and make that play. On the left side, he used all of his tanks. He actually didn't have his Knight when I used my ability, so I knew that I would get some damage, and we managed to, which is pretty nice. Log and just dealing some damage, and we aren't completely out of this game. We are down Elixir, and we are down about 1,000 damage, but it's possible. But he goes for a Knight, right? Sorry, he goes for a Bowler to kill my Knight, so I go for a Tesla. He then goes for his Knight, so he's used both of his tanks, and I'm like, wait, he doesn't have any tanks, so how does he deal with my Little Prince ability? I go in, and I just go all in, because I'm like, how does he stop this? How does he stop my Little Prince or any of this, right? He just used all of his stuff. So I go in, and we win the game. Just like that. Knowing his cycle won me that game. Perfect, GG's. Moving on, Sebi. We go for Hog Rider Fire Spirit. Lovely Fire Spirit connection onto the tower. Fire Spirit does about as much damage as a Fireball, like a naked Fireball, so You know, if you can ever get it onto your opponent's tower, that's a pretty big win. So I know he's playing a Hog Rider deck. Most likely he's running an Earthquake deck, Hog EQ. And at this point I'm like, okay, he goes for a Queen, so I go for Skeletons immediately once it crosses the bridge. And I play it like that just to bait out the ability, because then it walks slowly whilst it's in its invisibility mode, and then I just go for a low Fire Spirit, making sure that it jumps. And instead of taking, you know, he punished my cycle, but because of that nice little defense, we only take one Queen here. And so we're up, you know, about 800 damage. Go for a Hog Rider. He you know, correctly plays his Tesla outside of the Earthquake range, so I don't even bother going for an Earthquake. Cycle a Knight, 3-card cycle, and, you know, I'm waiting for him to go in for his Hog EQ push. I go for this low, but I played it a tile too low by accident. Kind of an L. Probably should have... Well, okay, I went for a log, but I don't know what else I could have done. At this point, you know, the damage is damage. So I go for a Hog Rider, and this is important. He goes for his Tesla, and I know he's low on Elixir, and a lot of people will just let this push go. But I know that if I go for my Earthquake, even if my Hog survives on 1 HP, right, that gets me 2 extra Hog hits, just like that. A Tesla can fully counter a Hog, but even 1 smidgen less damage on that, HP on that Tesla, and it won't. And that's exactly what happened. You know, the Tesla just died before it got its last hit off. My Hog just survived, and he had no Elixir, so we got those 2 extra hits, and even though I made a mistake, we are still 600 damage in the lead. Little Prince, same lane, right? So if he goes in, I can use my Little Prince ability, and he goes Evo Knight. I was thinking about blocking the bridge, but I thought I kind of want him to commit a bunch of Elixir, because then my counter push will be even stronger. So he goes for it. I just decide to give him the Earthquake value and just give him whatever he wants, because now he has to defend. Look at this. How does he defend this? So I go for my high Earthquake, knowing that he's going to go for a high Tesla. And to be fair, Evo Tesla actually did something. You know, the extra HP saved him from taking a bunch of damage, and then his Queen plus ability helped him on that side. Go for my Knight. Yes, I didn't get my... what's it called? I didn't manage to get my Tesla outside of EQ range, but it doesn't really make a difference. Log away his 1 HP Queen, and still looking good. Our lead is only now 300, but, you know, it's not really so bad. I only let this level 14 connect because I forgot that I was also level 14. I thought I was level 15 and then it would die. But anyway, Little Prince first. Always Little Prince first in these kind of cycle deck matchups. So I get 3-card cycle, and look, I'm already back to Hog Rider. And look at this. I wait till I'm at exactly 6 Elixir because I know he's got Skeletons. Going for a Hog Rider at 4 Elixir, yes, I would have gotten damage, but he would have gotten Skeletons, and I wouldn't have had a way to respond to it. So by waiting till I had 6 Elixir, I could go for both Hog Rider and Log, and that meant my Hog got 3 Hog hits, and at that point this is basically GG's. You know, I don't even need flawless defense on the right. Evo Knight completely destroys a Queen. I just take whatever damage on the right, and I can just EQ cycle. I have a Little Prince on the field, so I have 3-card cycle. So I go for Earthquake, you know, EQ. I decide to just defend, because why not? He uses his... Look at this. I use my ability. Yes, this is kind of extra, but he uses Knight, so he has no way of dealing with my ability. GG's. Perfect game, and that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be making more on this deck in the future. If you guys liked the video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the future. Peace.